All right, and we're recording. Ladies, the call is all yours. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Terry, so much. And I am so excited to be on this call with you guys. I can't believe there's 112 people on here. I know there's a lot of people that couldn't be on or that are streaming with us live on our Facebook group or that want to listen to the recording. But thank you guys for taking the time to be with us tonight. When we planned this call a couple months ago, in light of breast cancer awareness, I will be very honest that I completely forgot that 4 days prior to this call, I'd be having major surgery. And so here I am. 4 days ago, I was in New Orleans having breast reconstruction and actually full body reconstruction. That's a whole other story we'll go into another time. And so tonight, I'm coming from you a little bit doped up, but honestly passionate about what I'm about to say. And really, you guys will know this about me, that when I'm passionate about something, surgery or whatever is not going to stop me from sharing with you guys. And so thank you guys for taking the time to be here. So my name is Stephanie Fletcher, as Terry, I guess you didn't introduce us, but I'm Stephanie Fletcher and I live in San Antonio, Texas. I am married and I have 4 incredible children. I'm a holistic health coach, a small business owner, and I'm thriving through breast cancer. And so that's really a little bit about me. The meat of this event is coming up actually after me when my friend and health coach and pharmacist, Michala Petersen, is going to be sharing with you guys. And if you guys don't have time to stay on later on, I promise you guys, you want to go back and listen to Michala because she's going to be sharing with you guys some incredible information. I'm going to share with you guys how I actually met her here in just a minute. I kind of wrote some notes just because I want to make sure I get everything kind of coming across clear to you guys. For the first few minutes, I wanted to share something before I share my story. When you guys are listening to this, if you guys are here, and I know some of you guys are on here, are actually going through cancer yourself, and some of you guys are some good friends of mine going through cancer, and they're listening to this, I have to not look at you guys so I don't get emotional. But if you're either going through cancer or you know someone who's going through cancer, remember that this is my story and this is my journey. And we are all bio individuals and we're all completely different. And so my story might look completely different than your story. And so as you're listening to my story and you start feeling like, oh, I should have done that, or I wish I could have done that, or whatever, I want you to leave that behind. I only want you to walk away with tools. That's what the whole purpose of this is for you to feel inspired, for you to find some hope, and for you hopefully to share this hope with other people and really start building your toolbox. Because again, my story is going to look very different than your story. And so don't take anything negative away from this. Take everything that's positive. And so sometimes when we hear somebody else's story, we're like, oh, I should have done that or whatever. And I did the same thing. But I really had to come to the conclusion that this is my story. And so I have to build my own team and I have to create my journey depending on what it looks like for me. So, but I want to share my journey with you guys because I do think there's pieces of it that are so helpful for people that are either trying to prevent cancer because they have family history of it. But guess what? I don't really have family history. My dad did have prostate cancer a couple years ago, but because of the breast cancer I have, that cancer history was not even part. I don't have grandparents that have cancer or anything. So let me kind of dive into my story. January 27th, I was coming back from an incredible trip with Miss Terry Luongo and my best friend, Holly Morris. And I had done a biopsy before I left. And I had told the doctor, I said, you know what? I don't want you to call me either way, because I'm going to be speaking at an event in Oregon. And so I don't want to know either way, because either way, if you call me, I'm going to know that something's wrong. Or if you don't call me, I'm going to know something's wrong. So if we say, don't call me at all, then I won't know anything. And she was like, are you sure? I was like, yes, I'm positive. And so I got back Monday night and I did what I do every Monday night, or every night, really. I got in the bath. And I should have known something was up because I got home from a 5-day trip and the entire house was clean. My kids were in bed and I was like, this is kind of weird. So I get in the bath and my husband comes in. He said, hey, babe, I called the doctor while you were gone. And I was like, what? He said, I was going to call you and tell you that there was good news. Unfortunately, sorry, it's the medicine, y'all. I really don't cry usually during this part. He said, but you have cancer. And the first thing that came out of my mouth is, are you kidding me? That's really what came out. And I had two thoughts, and this is me being super blunt and honest. My two thoughts were, how do I tell my kids? And how am I going to post this on Facebook? Literally. And so, because if you guys did not hear Terry, I'm a holistic health coach. And so my passion and what I've been doing for 20 years is helping other people in their health journey. And so it wasn't that I was caught by surprise, because I know enough about health to know that anyone can get cancer. But at the same time, I was like, dang it, why? I really don't want to go through this. But let me tell you guys, that was January 27th. And I can say literally, I can't do math, y'all. Is it 8 months, 9 months? I don't know. I can literally say that I am so grateful for this journey. I am so grateful because I have learned so much, and I have met the most incredible women during this journey. And so to kind of give you details of my journey, within one day, my husband had taken off of work. He had everything kind of planned out. He's awesome like that. And so we were like, okay, let's get to work. And I thought, all right, first thing I'm going to do is start researching all the holistic stuff. And my husband was like, oh, geez, here we go. She's going to go do all her little weirdo things. But what we ended up doing is we ended up doing so much research about different ways to bring in holistic medicine alongside of conventional, which is called integrative, because you integrate both of them. And so there was things I had never even heard of, like mistletoe therapy, and mistletoe meaning like the mistletoe that you find on the bushes that I inject myself with on a daily basis, high dose vitamin C, high dose melatonin. There are so many things that I do in my holistic journey. And I work with a naturopathic oncologist out of Durango, Colorado. And I'm super blessed to have built an incredible team of people. My oncologist here in San Antonio is amazing. My breast surgeon's amazing. I have a breast surgeon team in New Orleans who's absolutely incredible. And y'all, funny story, divert for a moment. When I went to go do my phase 2 of reconstruction this past Thursday, I said, you always talk about, Dr. Sullivan, that you'll do anything, to help us. I said, I wear big earrings. And if y'all know me, I always wear big feather earrings. And I'm so sad that I can't wear them tonight. But here's why. If y'all look over here, you see the stitches? So I had one earlobe that was kind of lower, that had been pulled on by kids for so long. And I said, while I'm out, can you just repair that so I can wear earrings again? He was like, sure. So he did that, but then I realized I couldn't wear earrings tonight and I was slightly disappointed. So anyway, number one lesson, just ask, because sometimes you never know, you might get an answer that you want. So I have built this incredible team, right, around San Antonio and around other parts, and some virtually. And that's the first thing that really I tell people. You've got to build your team first. You've got to have a support group. You want to build your team. And then you have got to learn to advocate for yourself. Of course, when you hear the big C word the very first time, you go into this mode of like, oh my gosh, whatever they're going to tell me, I'm going to go do all the steps. And I literally, according to conventional medicine, did everything backwards. I did everything very late in the game. I felt like my body needed to go through some repairing with my gut and just my immune system, and I needed to get healthy. And then I did 4 rounds of chemo. I only needed to do 4. And I ended up doing it very well. I ended chemo September 1st. I really barely had many side effects besides just being tired. And then I shaved my head. I'm not sure I needed to do that because my hair ended up not really falling out, but that's okay. I needed to redo it. And anyway, so there was just lots of things in my journey that I decided that I wanted to try and to research, and not really listen to all the other voices, but listen to my gut and what my gut was telling me. And again, like I'm telling you guys, there are so many tools that you need in your toolbox when you're preventing cancer, or when you are, sorry, I'm looking at the time, or when you are going through cancer. And so all these tools look so different for everybody, depending on what you're doing. But there was one tool in particular that I am super passionate about. And it was something that I had been taking for many, many years. And I think that it was one reason why my body has been so prepared to kind of go through what I was going through. And I love that my naturopathic was behind me on this. My oncologist is behind me on this. The chemotherapy nurses and docs are behind me on this, but it was fruits and vegetables. And I know that might sound weird, but Michala's going to go into kind of the science behind that. But the fact that I was able to take these little capsules of concentrated produce on a daily basis, the day I found out, so on January 27th, the very next day, I quadrupled my dose of Juice Plus on a daily basis. And throughout chemo, I did not take any of the drugs to elevate my white cell count, and it was great. My white cell count stayed up the whole time. I really did not have hardly any side effects. And with surgery and recovery, I honestly, my body just knows how to heal up well. And so surgery really doesn't bother me that much. And I mean, it's uncomfortable, and yes, there's pain and all the things, but I think when you're giving your body what it needs to fuel and to heal, you'll be amazed at what it does. And so I want to introduce you guys next. That's a little bit part of my journey. Of course, there's tons of, I mean, how can you like break down your journey in 10 minutes? But I want you guys to kind of have some things to walk away from this call. You know, my story is hoping to give you guys a little bit of hope that a diagnosis doesn't have to be what your story ends up like. And really your story can be an awesome story that can bless other people. And I get to continue to be a student in this. And now I get to know what it feels like to have cancer. I get to understand what it feels like when people go through chemotherapy. And so that's another part of my job that now I get to bless other people that are going through cancer as a health coach, and I get to bless them. But Michala came into my life literally 2 days after I was diagnosed, because as a part of Juice Plus, I'm blessed with an amazing community of people. I had a breast surgeon that's part of Juice Plus that gave me a first opinion. I hadn't even seen my breast surgeon yet. Very quickly, within 3 days, I had Michala Petersen and another lady who is actually a specific cancer health coach. And then Michala is a health coach, and she's also a pharmacist. And I got in touch with her, and they have helped me a ton throughout my entire journey. And so she has a ton of information. She's only going to be able to give you guys a short bit of it, but we have other videos that can help you guys too after this. But Michala, take it away.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I am so humbled and honored to be on this call, and especially on this call with you, Stephanie. You are one of the bravest humans that I know, funniest humans that I know also. And so I just can't believe that you're rocking it 4 days after surgery, but I am not at all surprised. So thank you for asking me to do this. Well, I was one of those strange people in pharmacy school that on our breaks, I would be up in the computer lab. I had a list of Carrying Bridge pages that I would check on the regular. And I remember thinking, man, I just wish that I could help. I wish I could give back to them in some simple way. And it's kind of interesting how life has come full circle now. And this is one of my passions. So really in pharmacy school, I only got 1 week of nutrition training, and we took that week of nutrition with the physicians. So I felt at a disadvantage, I think, when my grandma was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I reached out to a beautiful woman by the name of Kim Trilovich, who has taught me so much of what I know here. And I said, what can I do? I luckily was already part of this Juice Plus community, so I was easily connected to her. And she gave me hope. And I just remember thinking, there are so many things on this journey that we can control. My grandma went from not being able to sit for more than 10 minutes to 5 weeks later at her first chemo treatment, being able to sit for 5.5 hours with just nutrition. And it was a huge eye opener to me. And so that's the goal tonight. I'm going to share a little bit of her story, thanks to some God moments. We created a Facebook page called Striding Through Cancer. And this is going to be a lot of information, but all of the information is on that page. Through is spelled like drive through, THRU. And then we also have a call that kind of bundles it all up. So my goal for tonight, though, is to give you a little education, give you inspiration, which you already got in Stephanie, and then give you hope, because don't we all need a little hope right now? So I think that, you know, the statistics that 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women are going to get cancer in their lifetime, those statistics don't have to define us. And there are so many things that we can control. So we're going to go into the AEIOs and U's of Striding Through Cancer now. And there's this little book that you can get on Amazon. It's called Cancer's Best Medicine. A lot of the talking points that I'm going to talk about are in that book. There's recipes, and it's an amazing little resource. So here we go. A is for alkalinity. Did you know that cancer cannot survive in an alkaline environment? What do you think makes our bodies alkaline? 3 simple things: fruits and vegetables and water. So many with a cancer diagnosis cannot or don't want to eat enough fruits and vegetables to impact their disease. And so that's where Juice Plus comes into play. And I love that that was part of my grandma's regimen day 1 when she was diagnosed. Her body craved it. I pulled them apart and dumped them in the shakes. And in a cancer state, or even in a non-cancer state, you can go to the pharmacy and get pH test strips, test your urine, test your saliva, see where you sit, because it's really fascinating to be able, I know Stephanie did this right off the bat, did a food journal, and I think even you were surprised, Steph, right, at what little things would increase your pH versus decrease it. And that's things, you know, those are things that you can control. So 75% of our diet should be raw fruits and vegetables. That's hard to do. What are some other things that increase your pH or increase your alkalinity? Bitter apricot kernels, Essiac tea. You can research that, Essiac. It's an ancient remedy that is amazing. How about decreasing stress? Did you know that toxic thoughts cause you to be acidic? And how many of us have toxic thoughts? We all do, right? And so our mental state is huge in this balance. And then environmental factors play a role in our alkalinity. And then finally, processed food, which we're going to talk about sugar in just a little bit. So let's dive into the E. E is for enzymes. And enzymes are the workhorse of our system. And I don't know about you, but when I used to hear the word enzyme, I would like want to cower under the table because it reminded me of organic chemistry and not understanding a dang thing that was being said. Good news, you can be a pharmacist and struggle in organic chemistry. It's okay. But literally, we would not be alive if it weren't for enzymes, because how do you think the egg or the sperm penetrates the egg, right? It's because of an enzyme. So we owe a lot to enzymes. So what happens in an enzyme deficiency? We get cancer, constipation, immune dysfunction, brain fog, inflammation, you name it, it can be caused by an enzyme deficiency. What do enzymes help us with? They help with digestion, they decrease inflammation, they help with absorption. And actually 80% of people that succumb to cancer do not actually succumb to the cancer itself. They succumb to malnourishment. And so enzymes are a huge part of that because we're born with the enzymes that we have. And once that supply depletes, our body has to work overtime to make the enzymes to help us digest things. So I'm going to give you one guess. Where do you find enzymes? If you're thinking fruits and vegetables, you're right. You're going to find a theme here, right? A lot of these things we can control. And the cancer patients that I work with, I strongly encourage them to eat fresh pineapple on a daily basis because pineapple has 500% more bromelain than any over-the-counter or prescription cough syrup. So that's important during the winter, no matter what state you're in, right? But also it helps with digestion and replaces the enzymes in our system. So super important. I was passionate about this back when my grandma had cancer too. Her enzymes came from obviously Juice Plus, fruits and vegetables, and then we have a complete shake mix that is studied at MD Anderson in ovarian cancer patients. It is a delicious drink. I would pull 12 capsules apart and put them in her shake. And that was the one food that she wanted without fail every day. It was like, where's my shake? And then she'd tell me hello. You know, it was one of those deals in that order, right? Okay, so that's E. I is for immune function. And we have an amazing 80-day study with Juice Plus. And I don't want your eyes to cross and you to be like, oh, she's going to talk about research. So I'm just going to give you the quick and dirty on this one. Basically, at 80 days, the T and B cells, which are our controllers of our immune system, were brought back into balance. But what is most important, not only in a cancerous state, but for cancer prevention also, is that at just 80 days, the little Pac-Men that roam around your system and eat cancer cells were increased exponentially. And I think that is so important because as a mom, you know, I know the statistics, I know we're not perfect, but I want to get that in my kids as well. If I can increase their Pac-Man so their irregular cells are eaten like they should be, right? So in our family, we have noticed a huge boost in our immune system, if you will. We haven't had many sick visits in 6 years, and that was not our story before. And what I've noticed in the cancer patients that I work with is they have a way better quality of life, whether it's decrease in symptoms from treatments or more energy or more endurance, healthier glow even. I mean, look at Steph, she looks absolutely beautiful. So what are some other ways that we can increase our immune system and enhance our immune system and help our immune system to protect us? I don't know if you know, but you can cook and have a cancer fighting kitchen like no other. Garlic actually is the most powerful anti-cancer spice, and it is known to inhibit every single stage of cancer growth and development. Another big one is oregano. How many of you cook with oregano, right? That's not hard. We incorporate more spices into our diet. I know Steph is raising her hand. Oregano actually is an antimicrobial, and it is also an anti-parasite. So it really does boost up your immune system. Cayenne pepper, I love spicy things. So do all of my kids. That's what prevented morning sickness. That's all I could do was eat jalapenos, and life was better. So cayenne pepper, the hotter, the better. And this actually triggers cell death. It's called apoptosis. So anytime you can spice up your life, you should. Turmeric is a powerful anti-cancer fighter. And if you're going to eat turmeric, be sure you mix it with black pepper because absorption will be increased by 2,000%. And then I don't know how many of you have watched The Truth About Cancer. One of the things that they talk about that we also did with my grandma is frankincense. You can diffuse it. You can put it into capsules. I know Steph is a big believer in frankincense, and it smells good, and your skin is going to look great after using frankincense also. So that is that's the I for immune system. And then O stands for oxygen and omegas. Did you know that cancer cannot live in an oxygenated environment? And you may be thinking, well, why is that? That is because cancer replicates via fermentation and makes lactic acid. So if you notice, not even in a cancerous state, if you just notice in your regular life, if you're stressed, if you're worried, if you're full of anxiety, what happens to your breathing? A lot of times we hold our breath. A lot of times we're breathing very shallow. And this is something huge that can help you regardless of what state you're in. So 3 deep breaths, 3 is key. And one thing that I did with my grandma is I set an alarm on my phone for every hour that she was awake. I would call her and we would breathe deeply together. And so you're going to breathe in through your nose. This is called box breathing, by the way. In through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts. And you're going to do at least 3 cycles of that. If you can do 10, that's even better. Your family's going to thank you because you're going to be so zen. They're going to wonder what in the heck you're doing. But that's a great thing that you can do. Fresh air is great. I know that can be hard to come by these days, but get some fresh air. House plants put oxygen back into your environment, plus they're life-giving, right? Something to love, something to take care of. I am a houseplant junkie. It's a love language for me, actually. And then the other part of the O is omegas. 98% of us Americans are deficient in omegas. So what happens in omega deficiency? We have hormone issues, inflammation, we can get cardiac and skin and eye disease, we have trouble with absorption. And this is really key in a cancerous state as well, because vitamins A, D, E, and K are all fat-soluble vitamins. And if we don't have enough good fats in our system, we aren't going to absorb the nutrition like we could if our omega stores were repleted. So what happens in omega deficiency? I want you to listen to this list. And this is just a partial list. Like this is just a fraction of it. Depression, fatigue, arthritis, weight gain, heart disease, memory loss, brain fog, dull skin. I mean, how many of you are like, insomnia? I might have an omega deficiency, right? So the omega that I absolutely love, and I know Stephanie is the same way, is called the Omega Blend by Juice Plus. It is actually a concert blend of omegas, which is even better than just omega-3. And it's omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. And I don't know if you know this, I did not, that fish actually do not produce omegas. They eat the algae or the plants, and then we butcher the fish for the plants that they eat. So this goes straight to the plant source. It's cold pressed, and research is just out showing that it does twice as much in half the time as the competitor omegas, which is amazing. Okay, so yay! That's what I use for skincare. I bite them open, I drizzle it on my skin. You look like an Oompa Loompa for maybe 3 minutes, and then it absorbs and you have this soft skin. I literally bite it open and squirt it right on my kiddos' tongues, and you would never do that with a fish oil, right? They get rancid when they're heated, and oh, gross. Okay, so next is you. You, how are you taking care of you? Self-care, I used to think that self-care was one of those kind of woo-woo terms that, like, what does that even mean? I'm a mom of 4 kids, like self-care is locking yourself in the bathroom for 35 seconds, right? No, but seriously, this is in the acronym of SELF, SELF. So S is serenity. How can you drop down into that conscious space of peace and tranquility? Maybe that's doing your box breathing. Maybe that is praying. Maybe that's doing yoga. Or maybe that's just like putting your hand over your heart and being present, because that is so important, right? Being present is such a gift that our world is missing right now. We're constantly on to the next thing, on to the next thing. E is for exercise. What are you doing for you? We know that what exercise does as far as releasing endorphins and doing all these great things for us. Walking, dancing, have a dance party in your living room, workout. L is for love, connections, friends, pets. Oh my gosh, you guys, over quarantine, we got 13 chickens. And I never would have thought that I'd be a chicken lady. And honestly, it's incredible the joy that these little animals provide. Not to mention, we got 14 eggs out of 13 chickens today. So somebody's an overachiever. But anyway, we need more joy right now. And then F is for food, healthy choices, omegas, fruits and vegetables. I'm sure all of us have, indulged every now and then, and you don't feel near as well as you do when you're eating clean. So that's something tangible that you can take a hold of too. So then the last thing that I want to leave you with in self-care is what you focus on expands. Why not focus on gratitude? I mean, I think, Stephanie, you are the picture perfect proof of this, because even in the trenches, you are grateful. And I just think that that's so awesome. Tonight, she's like, well, the good news is I have a healthy glow, So anyway, I love it. Okay, so S is for sugar and science. Did you know that sugar weakens the immune system, even just a few teaspoons? So if you're a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, I want you to think of when the little people in your life get the random acts of barfness. It's always after Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or Valentine's Day, when they're sugared up and their immune systems just cannot hang. And actually, more detrimental than weakening the immune system is that sugar feeds cancer, and cancer just thrives in a sugary environment, which also causes you to be more acidic, right? So sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Cocaine and heroin actually light up just one spot in the brain, and sugar lights up the entire brain. So we know why we're so addicted in this country. Something super simple that you can do is flip whatever you're buying over and read the nutrition label. Don't be intimidated by it. You need to look for carbohydrates, and it's going to say grams of sugar. And you divide that by 4, and that's how many teaspoons of sugar is in a certain product. So I was a Pepsi junkie before we started this health journey 6 years ago. Would I have ever gone to the sugar bowl and eaten 11 teaspoons of sugar in one sitting? No, but I thought 1 Pepsi a day was my only vice, right? So be aware, and that's something that you can change. Once you know better, you do better. We absolutely can control what we put in our mouth. And maybe for you, that's not like cutting all sugar. Maybe that's decreasing it. But when you know you have choices, you can make better choices. And then the S, this is going to be really short, is for science. And we have 41 published clinical studies on Juice Plus itself. And a couple of those that highlight the AEIOs and U's that we've talked about tonight are, number 1, the Family Health Study. This is a study that is over 20 years old, affecting over 1.5 million kiddos and the people that sponsor them. We know that after just 1 year on Juice Plus, 60% of kids are missing fewer days of school. 61% are eating more fruits and vegetables. 71% are drinking more water and drinking less soft drinks, and that's the same for their parents. So how many of the AEIOs and U's were just affected by that one study, right? I already talked about the immune study, the 80-day study, and then we have the microvascular circulation study, which in my opinion applies directly to people in a cancerous state, because we know that blood flow to the microvasculature was increased by 39%. So you think of the microvasculature and you think of eyes, nerves. How many people do you know that have post-chemo neuropathy, right? Or neuropathy from diabetes or whatever? Kidneys, erectile dysfunction in men, and then skin issues. So I know a lot of people that could increase their blood flow by 39% and be happy about it. And again, with those natural killer cells, we know that the immune system knows what to do when it's given the proper nourishment. So I know this was a ton of information in a short amount of time, but I just want to challenge you. Now that you know, think about how you can love it forward. Who do you know in your world that needs to hear the AEIOs and U's of striding through cancer? Who do you know that needs the book, Cancer's Best Medicine? I like to buy that for anyone in my world that I know that was diagnosed with cancer, because it's that powerful. Who do you know that needs immune support right now? There's a lot of fear in a lot of different circumstances in our country right now. Who do you know that needs immune support? Who do you know that needs improved blood flow? Who do you know that needs a positive community? Because that is my favorite attribute to this whole gig. Our Juice Plus community is amazing. We also are able to do a Healing Strong cancer support group call every third Thursday of the month on Zoom. And so no matter what you do, find a community, find those people that bring you joy and that lift you up and that fill your love tank for sure. So thank you so much for hearing my heart. And Steph, thanks so much for asking me to speak tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Michala. You guys, was that not amazing? Were you guys like scribbling notes all the time? This will be recorded, and so the link will be available. And again, you can follow Michala on her page that she mentioned, or you can follow my page on Facebook, Coach Steph. I'm on there too, and you can follow that. And I share my journey and all the different things. Obviously, I wasn't very specific about a lot of the things that I've done and where I kind of started. But you guys can look at my journey through Facebook and kind of follow it there. But thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know it's a little bit past 9 o'clock, so we want to let you guys go. But blessings on your journey. If you guys are going through a cancer journey, just know that there is a community out there that is willing to support you and to help and answer questions. And you guys are incredible, and know that that's just a piece of your story that you're going through, and that's not your whole story. So you guys are amazing. Thanks again, Michala, for being on, and thanks, Terry, for the recording. And you guys have a blessed night.
Thank you.